my pleasure to be interviewing Anthony Brocatelli. He is an expert in the field of graphology, otherwise known as the psychology of handwriting analysis. Will you please tell us a little bit about how you first became interested in graphology?
Well, I was 11 years old, and a very close friend of my family introduced me to the field, and he gave me a book. And as a young elementary school student, I knew nothing about what handwriting analysis was, but I was deeply fascinated by the symbols of handwriting, and I sought to explore the very nature of the human mind through these symbols, and I sought to grasp what perhaps would, for me, amount to the essence of the evolution of the human mind and human consciousness via the capacity for symbolization and the transmogrification of thought via human symbols.
And why do you think graphology is useful for people?
Graphology is a field which can be of use to people in human resources, in criminology, people in politics, people who want to understand demographics, people who want to understand the evolution of the human mind, people who want to understand their children, people who are interested in who they are as human beings, their fundamental identity. They want to understand their compatibility with fellow human beings. They want to understand whether or not he or she with whom they communicate is inherently trustful or dishonest. And there are a vast amount of areas in which handwriting analysis can be of interest, including risk aversion. If somebody feels that somebody is not worthy of investing with, somebody is not worthy doing business with in any sense. And of course, people who are interested in the history of symbols, people who are interested in how writing evolved, people who want to understand how educational methods of handwriting influence the development of the brain. And there are so many uses of handwriting. It is a virtually inexhaustible field of analysis.
So let's say, Anthony, I would like to analyze my handwriting. What would be your approach? What method do you use in analyzing handwriting?
Well, the key is never to look at any one individual sign of the handwriting. In other words, it doesn't matter if the T-bar is it's high or low or whatever. That's not the essence of approaching handwriting, is that you must look at the whole. You must look at what the German graphology refers to as the Gestalt. In other words, the entire image of the handwriting. The movement, the form, the space, the rhythm, the tension, the organization, and how it unfolds dynamically. And the individual is also a Gestalt, in the sense that no individual can be said to be truly just the sum. You know, we transcend the sum, the total of who we are. We go beyond merely the it and the bit of, to use an expression of the physicist John Wheeler liked to refer to, the expression it to bit. In other words, is human existence just defined according to bits? Well, I will say, well, we are more just than bits. We go beyond just an informational definition of the human soul. The essence of the personality is something which utterly transcends a very finite, very compositional view of who we are.
Anthony, you have such a vast experience in analyzing handwriting. Do you have any interesting examples that you can share with us?
Oh yes, I have had many interesting experiences. I had an experience once with a man who lost many thousands of dollars, and more than one person I knew involved in many severe financial losses because they trusted people that were dishonest, and they didn't know who they were dealing with. And when you deal with people that are not honest, you suffer the consequences. Likewise, when you deal with dishonest people in relationships, you suffer the consequences. And when you deal with people who have health problems and you're not absolutely certain that they're ill, but you can sense something that's wrong and you sense it from the handwriting, you are not a doctor, You're not licensed to diagnose illness, but you can certainly say, well, this person is worthy of treatment, and therefore they should receive the treatment they deserve. But being a graphologist, you sense intuitively that there is something off, and therefore you can offer them very, very, very good advice.
Well, that's very interesting. So I guess there are a lot of exciting parts in your analysis. So what is the most exciting part about the work you have been doing lately in the field? And how do you see yourself making a contribution?
Well, so far I've been involved in the composition of multi-volume reference work of a very encyclopedic nature on the essence, the full reachings of the field of graphology, which comprehends the psychoanalytic and neuroscientific and multiple dimensions of human experience and synergizes them in a very, very unique manner, which ultimately seeks to elevate human comprehension of the field of handwriting analysis onto a very, very distinct plane, in which people will be able to appreciate the art, the science, the essence, the nature of writing, and they will appreciate it, which will, in a way which will take them beyond a very myopic view of handwriting, perhaps jaded by the very nature of our digital age, in which perhaps it is all too convenient to rely upon the manifold conveniences of pressing buttons and whatnot.
That's very interesting. And how do you think you will, or you are, differentiate yourself from others in the same field?
Ultimately, when I think of handwriting, I think of the essence of the human being. I think of the essence of what makes us unique and special as people. The fact that no two people are capable of writing in an identical manner, to me that inherently validates the nature of the psychological integrity of handwriting analysis. The fact that two people have not only different bodies but different minds, and therefore they employ fundamentally different mechanisms in the production of the handwriting in a way which is inherently non-deterministic, and therefore you could argue even non-mechanistic, but ultimately uniquely human. That is what transports us into the very, very special sacred realm of human expression, which opens up a vast plethora of psychological possibilities into which we can gauge the consciousness of the individual and their expansion into many, many numerous evolutionary futures.
So many people are using computers to type. Do you believe that there is a future for graphology?
There will always be a future for graphology. Computers are incredibly advanced, and they can do a lot for the modern handwriting expert, including quantizing pressure, speed, tension, various dimensions of human motor activity, which collectively govern the steering of not only the cognitive elements of the writing endeavor, but various issues which pertain to the global compositionality of the human temperament and its expression on the page.
Do you see any potential hindrance to people being able to learn and understand graphology as an advanced academic discipline?
Yes, there are some people who regard graphology quite foolishly as a form of charlatanry. They associate it with palm reading, they associate it with the occult, they associate it with prediction of the future. Graphology ultimately is rooted in the definition of what the Germans refer to as Schriftpsychology. In other words, it is a discipline which integrates manifold fields, including cognitive science, neuroscience, the understanding of the motor system, and various disciplines which together comprise a very synergistic understanding of consciousness, and in which the human being can advance to very, very high levels of contemplation beyond that which currently exists in the current academic world.
Okay, and our last question for the night is, how do you see yourself potentially changing the landscape of the entire field?
Well, nature of the field of graphology is very manifold in the sense that there are many, many people out there who believe that they have an understanding of what graphology is. But they have not studied psychology. They have not studied neuroscience. They pretend to understand these disciplines. But if you do not understand these disciplines, if you do not understand the connection of the hand to the brain, if you do not understand Jung, Freud, Maslow, Kretschmer, Whitlick, Horney, and the various others who belong to the vast historical gamut of contributions to our very hallowed field, then you will not even begin to contemplate the ultimate depth and the seriousness of a discipline which endeavors to penetrate into the vast reaches of the human mind and to expand into the ever glorious nature of heightened knowledge and heightened understanding of what it is that makes us uniquely human and blessed to belong to this very, very sacred planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.